Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Today, Whovians and Trekkies unite, a deep dive into sci-fi favorites.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast, a podcast where only the steamiest topics are discussed. It is the 15th of April, and I'm Superintendent Chalmers, and as always, by my side is my good old friend, Principal Seymour Skinner. Welcome, Seymour.
Greetings, everyone. Let's keep the welcoming short because I can't wait any longer for our podcast episode today. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh, Skinner, you're really excited. But, well, with today's topic and you being a big science fiction fan, I can more than understand.
Definitely, Chalmers. One of our loyal viewers, our dear LumusOfFailing, had suggested a brilliant topic. Thank you for the suggestion to talk about sci-fi because I could talk about that for years. But before we start, we should note, however, that there may be spoilers in this episode, so be warned. So yeah, Chalmers, you know how much I love Doctor Who, right? Well, let me tell you, Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor is simply phenomenal.
Why, yes, Doctor Who. It's quite popular these days again, isn't it? But personally, I think the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, was the best. His charm and wit were unbeatable. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the seasons with Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor, but
Come on, Chalmers. Give the poor 11th Doctor a chance. He's got such a unique style, and his relationship with Amy Pond is just adorable. Plus those tweeds he wore, so dashing.
All right, I won't knock Matt Smith's performance entirely. He did bring something fresh to the role, didn't he? But for me, there's just something irreplaceable about the 10th Doctor's era. David Tennant was simply born for that. Remember how he would run around saving the day while still managing to crack jokes?
Of course. How could I forget the iconic moment when he said, "I don't want to go," as he was about to regenerate? That scene gave me chills every time.
It truly was a brilliant moment. But Skinner, I have to ask, what do you think about the 12th Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi? Don't you find his darker, more complex nature refreshing?
Well, I admit that Capaldi brought a unique flavor to the show. His portrayal of the Doctor made for some deeply emotional episodes like Heaven Sent. But overall, I still lean towards Matt Smith's charming, quirky version of the Doctor.
Fair enough, Skinner. We all have our preferences. I will definitely give the 11th Doctor another chance.
You know, Chalmers, one of the things I absolutely love about Matt Smith's portrayal of the 11th Doctor is his ability to blend humor with deep emotion. There's a certain vulnerability that he brings to the character, which makes him incredibly relatable and endearing. Take, for instance, the episode A Good Man Goes to War. When the Doctor reveals his name to the world, it's a powerful, emotionally charged scene. Yet amidst all that intensity, Smith manages to deliver a line like, "I'm the Doctor." Nobody important from the episode A Christmas Carol with a cheeky grin, perfectly encapsulating the character's witty personality.
I agree with you, but Skinner, I actually have to correct you. The quote went slightly differently, and in the episode, the Doctor wasn't referring to himself, but to Abigail Pettigrew. He pointed to her when she was frozen and said, "Nobody important? Lemmy, that's amazing. You know that in 900 years of time and space, and I've never met anybody who wasn't important before."
Indeed, you're right. I got something mixed up. Sorry, and thanks for correcting me. But yes, that scene alone was worth its weight in gold. And the quote was simply breathtaking because, let's be honest, every single one of us is important. Regardless of what cloudy thoughts sometimes want you to believe, there's someone out there who really cares about you. Someone who is waiting for you to come back from work, a car drive, a sports session, or whatsoever. No matter what, you are important always.
You couldn't have said that more beautifully. Didn't Sans from Undertale once say something like that too? But anyway, back to the topic. I can see where you're coming from. Matt Smith certainly has a knack for delivering those iconic lines with a perfect balance of charm and wit. But for me, it's David Tennant's 10th Doctor that steals the show. Remember the episode, The End of Time, when the Doctor stands defiantly against the forces of darkness, proclaiming, "'Cause you don't need to own the universe. Just see it." Now that's a classic Doctor Who moment if ever there was one.
Oh, indeed. That moment gives me chills just thinking about it. But one of my other favorites was the regeneration from the 11th Doctor. I don't know why, but this change of actors always really gets me. You've got so used to the Doctor, learned to love him with all his sides, and then bang, he's gone.
That can be very captivating, but it shows that life is constantly in flux. Besides, he is not really gone. The older versions are still around from a certain point of view because they still can time travel from the past. And change is the nature of nature. And speaking of regeneration, let's not overlook Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor. He brought a darker, more introspective side to the character, which was quite refreshing. Remember the episode Heaven Sent, where the Doctor is trapped in a prison cell that regenerates every time and confronts him with childhood fears. It's an absolute masterclass in acting, as Capaldi conveys a wide range of emotions throughout the entire episode.
You're right, Chalmers. Each Doctor brings something unique and special to the role. What I appreciate about Matt Smith, though, is his ability to make even the most mundane situations seem exciting. Like, remember when he wore tweeds and a bow tie? That fashion choice alone added a level of quirkiness to the character that was both charming and distinctive.
Indeed, the bow tie did become a symbol of sorts for the 11th Doctor, but much more his fez. And while we're discussing style, let's not forget the TARDIS, which transformed from a police box into various other shapes and sizes in the inside.
It's smaller on the outside.
Haha, true. It was such a fun element of the show, adding a sense of whimsy and wonderment to each adventure.
Absolutely. The TARDIS was almost like a character itself. Wait, she actually was in one episode. Remember when the TARDIS got her soul sucked out into a woman's body? But speaking of adventures, do you recall the storyline involving River Song, the mysterious woman who knew the Doctor before he met her? Her relationship with the Doctor was fraught with danger and intrigue, making their interactions some of the most captivating moments in the series.
How could I forget River Song? I just say, spoilers. She was a fascinating character, full of secrets and surprises. Plus, her dynamic with the Doctor made for some truly unforgettable episodes. And let's not forget Amy Pond, the compassionate and brave companion who had a profound impact on the 11th Doctor's life.
Amy Pond. Her character arc was one of the most compelling aspects of the 11th Doctor's era. From being a little girl seeing the Doctor for the first time to growing up and becoming his trusted friend and confidant, her journey was nothing short of magical.
Agreed. Each Doctor, along with their respective companions, brought something unique and memorable to the world of Doctor Who. And while we may have our personal preferences, there's no denying that this sci-fi phenomenon has captured the hearts of millions around the globe.
Couldn't agree more, Chalmers. Any thoughts on the 13th Doctor with Jodie Whittaker or even the 15th Doctor with Ncuti Gatwa, though?
Wait, the 15th Doctor? What about the 14th?
Oh, haven't you seen the special episodes yet? Well, then I better not spoil it for you.
Thank you, I haven't actually done that yet. But yes, in principle, I would like to say something about the two, but unfortunately, I haven't seen the seasons yet to be able to form my own opinion.
A very sensible attitude. All I can say is that Season 13 got a pretty good wipe on Metacritic with a user score of 3.1, but oh well.
Not every season can be perfect. That's just the way it is. But it's also difficult to surpass yourself every time.
Well, infinite growth is never possible.
I agree. I also have to admit, as we were just talking about it, Doctor Who and Star Trek have some similarities, don't you think? Both started in the 1960s. Both have an incredibly large fan base, are independent of any particular cast, and still entertain millions of people today. Whereby, it must be said, to quote a deleted user on Reddit, Star Trek is about how humans view humans. Doctor Who is about how the rest of the universe would view us.
Oh, Chalmers. Now that you mention it, there are, from the story point of view, many differences. Star Trek encapsulates a visionary perspective of the future and the potential of humanity as a whole, focusing on themes of utopia and human excellence, represented by its iconic captains. While the series may seem overly optimistic, it ultimately portrays a hopeful vision of humanity's potential. amidst a galaxy teeming with advanced civilizations. Despite acknowledging flaws such as misogyny in the original series, Star Trek remains a remarkable creation deserving both praise and critique. On the other hand, Doctor Who is centered around a peculiar alien protagonist, a Time Lord, navigating through space and time with changing companions, emphasizing individual adventures rather than humanity's collective journey. Unlike Star Trek, Doctor Who portrays a diverse range of narratives including darker themes and unpredictable plot twists, showcasing the possibilities of the universe while occasionally acknowledging human folly. But there are definitely some parallels between the two franchises. Recurring villains like the Borg in Star Trek, much like the Daleks or the Master in Doctor Who. It seems these shows both thrive on creating iconic adversaries for our heroes to face.
Indeed, Skinner.
Speaking of adversaries, remember Q from Star Trek, The Next Generation?
His role often involved challenging Picard to think outside the box, forcing him to use his intellect and creativity to solve seemingly impossible situations. Isn't that somewhat reminiscent of how the Doctor frequently uses his wit and quick thinking to overcome challenges?
Absolutely, Chalmers. And just like the Doctor, Picard often finds himself working alongside companions or crew members who each bring unique skills and abilities to the table. Whether it's Data, a very smart android with superior intellect, or Worf's martial prowess, they all contribute to the success of the mission.
Yes, Skinner. But don't forget that sometimes even the best-laid plans can go awry. Just like when the Enterprise encounters an unexpected anomaly in deep space. The TARDIS materializing in the wrong era can lead to unforeseen complications.
Ah, yes. The infamous Heisenberg compensators gone wrong. It always leads to hilarious misunderstandings and a bit of chaos. But isn't that part of what makes these stories so engaging? We get to see our favorite characters navigate through these tricky situations and come out victorious in the end.
Exactly, Skinner. It's the character development and relationships that truly make these series shine. From the Doctor's friendship with Amy Pond to Captain Kirk's camaraderie with Mr. Spock, these bonds keep us invested in their journeys.
And while we're discussing Star Trek, I must say that my favorite series within the franchise is Deep Space Nine. There's something about its darker tone and more political storylines that sets it apart from other series in the canon.
You know, Skinner, I've actually never watched Deep Space Nine. I'd love to hear your thoughts on specific episodes or story arcs if you have any favorites.
Well, off the top of my head, I absolutely adore the Dominion War storyline. It adds this layer of complexity and realism to the show that I find incredibly captivating. Plus, there are moments of pure heroism and sacrifice which really tug at the heartstrings.
That sounds fantastic, Skinner. Maybe once we finish this current Doctor Who season we are watching together again, we could dive into Deep Space Nine together. It would be great to compare and contrast the two universes.
Sounds like a plan, Chalmers. And who knows? We may just discover another fascinating crossover between these beloved sci-fi franchises.
Maybe we do, Skinner, maybe we do.
But, well, Chalmers, that's quite an exhaustive overview of Star Trek's universe so far. It's like diving into the deep blue sea without any scuba gear. But let me just pick up a couple of points here. While talking about Star Trek before our podcast, you mentioned that Earth became a utopia after the eugenics wars, right? And that led to the establishment of the United Earth government in 2150. That's indeed the case in the timeline of the original series and some of the movies. However, in the timeline of Star Trek, Enterprise, which is set earlier than TOS, Earth wasn't exactly a utopia yet. There were still struggles and challenges.
Oh, Skinner, you're absolutely right. I got a bit ahead of myself there. In the timeline of Enterprise, Earth was still working towards that utopian vision. Quite a few bumps along the way, as you aptly pointed out.
And let's not forget that the original series often also dealt with themes such as racism, militarism, and the Cold War, albeit under a thin veil due to broadcast restrictions at the time. It's fascinating how Roddenberry managed to incorporate these topics while still keeping the show afloat.
You're so right, Skinner. And let's not forget Deep Space Nine, which delved even deeper into political intrigue and moral gray areas. Sisko had to navigate through a minefield of alliances and rivalries, both within his own crew and among the various alien races in the vicinity of the wormhole.
Bravo, Chalmers. Indeed, DS9 was a veritable playground for political drama. And who could forget Voyager's journey home across the vast expanse of the galaxy? Talk about a tale of perseverance and determination.
Oh, yes, Skinner. The journey of Voyager back to the Alpha Quadrant is nothing short of epic. And don't forget they had to deal with the Kazan.
Indeed. A perfect example of how the Star Trek universe never shies away from portraying diverse civilizations, regardless of their level of development or sophistication.
Agreed, Skinner. And before we finish our episode today, let's not forget to talk about another brilliant sci-fi series, The Expanse.
Yes, Chalmers. You've hit the nail right on the head. In fact, The Expanse is another fantastic example of a sci-fi series that beautifully blends complex storylines with rich characters and stunning visuals. Set 200 years in the future, after humans have colonized the solar system, it explores political intrigue, technological advancements, and the consequences of human actions on a scale never seen before.
Oh, Skinner, you described my favorite show. What do you particularly enjoy about The Expanse? Is it the detailed world building, the intricate plots, or perhaps the well-developed characters?
All of the above, Chalmers. But if I had to pick one aspect that stands out, it would be the way the series balances high politics with thrilling action sequences. The show masterfully interweaves the fates of individuals with those of entire planets, making each character feel significant while maintaining a grand sense of scope. Plus, the inclusion of advanced technology without falling into the trap of cliché gadgetry is refreshing and thought-provoking.
I completely agree, Skinner. It has a pretty realistic setting. One character I absolutely adore in The Expanse is Christian Avasarla, played by the phenomenally talented Shohreh Aghdashloo. Her smoky voice and sharp intellect make her performances truly memorable. She brings a level of gravitas and wisdom to the role that elevates every scene she's in.
Bravo, Chalmers. Shohreh Aghdashloo indeed delivers a stellar performance as Christian Avasarala. Her portrayal of a strong-willed, strategic leader who isn't afraid to play the game at the highest levels while remaining grounded in her principles is nothing short of magnificent.
Agreed, Skinner. Not only does The Expanse provide an engrossing narrative filled with suspense and surprises, but it also features characters that are relatable, flawed, and yet capable of greatness. It's a perfect blend of science fiction and political drama that keeps me hooked episode after episode.
Well said, Chalmers. Although I have to say, I think it was seasons 4 and 5 that I didn't find quite as great as the others. But still a really great series. And let's not forget, the series also boasts breathtaking visual effects that transport us across the vast expanse of the solar system, making us feel like we're part of this incredible universe.
Indeed, Skinner. It's a true gem among sci-fi series, offering a captivating mix of politics, action, and character development.
But Chalmers, how can we discuss The Expanse without mentioning the protomolecule? That mysterious substance sets off a chain reaction of events throughout the series, driving the plot forward in ways both expected and unexpected. Its origin remains a mystery, and its capabilities border on the supernatural. From terraforming entire planets to infecting and rewriting biological life forms, the protomolecule serves as a powerful force that shapes the destiny of humanity.
Absolutely, Skinner. The protomolecule is a fascinating concept that drives much of the conflict and tension in the series. It's a testament to the writer's skill that they managed to keep the audience guessing about its true nature and potential until the very end. The protomolecule represents the double-edged sword of progress, a tool with immense power that could either lead to our salvation or ultimate destruction.
True, Chalmers. The protomolecule raises some profound questions about the nature of intelligence, control, and the limits of scientific exploration. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the most dangerous discoveries aren't found in distant galaxies, but rather within ourselves.
Indeed, Skinner. Skinner, the protomolecule serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of unchecked ambition and the dangers of meddling with forces beyond our understanding. Yet, despite its ominous presence, it also provides hope for a brighter future, should humanity learn to harness its powers responsibly.
Brilliantly put, Chalmers. The protomolecule is undoubtedly one of the standout elements of the Expanse, adding depth and complexity to an already rich tapestry of storylines and characters.
Yes, Skinner. It's these unique aspects that set The Expanse apart from other sci-fi series and make it a must. Watch for any fan of the genre.
If only we could see more of the series. Unfortunately, it was cancelled. We can only hope that the series will continue at some point, even if the chances are very slim. I mean, well, Telltale at least made a game about it, which is mainly about Kamina Drummer. But yes, a continuation of the series would be great.
Absolutely, Skinner. Speaking of which, I think the protomolecule might be trying to tell us something about our morning brew. Perhaps it has plans to revolutionize the global coffee market?
No, that's a business plan I wouldn't mind being a part of.
A protomolecular Starbucks franchise, anyone? With locations all over the solar system, we could truly say we've gone interplanetary.
Skinner, my friend, if it ever comes to that, please remember me when you're sipping your proto-coffee at the helm of your proto-shuttle.
My pleasure, Chalmers. And don't forget to thank your listeners for joining us on this wild ride through the solar system. Without them, where would we be? Probably still trying to figure out how to operate Cosgrove's tea maker.
You're absolutely right, Skinner. Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning into our podcast every week. We couldn't do this without you.
Oh, yes. We are very grateful for your comments, subscriptions, and views. We are always very happy when the time and work pays off, when we know that we can, hopefully, entertain someone out there in the big world.
So go ahead, enjoy the rest of your day, bask in the warm sunshine, and wish upon a protostar. Wish upon a protostar. We'll catch up with you next week, so stay safe and keep watching the skies.
See you next week. Thanks again. Enjoy your day.